My regards. There are theories in football that are taken for granted, even though they are not 100% accurate, and one of these theories is the subject of our episode today in Top 5, which is that when great players coach ordinary teams, they do not succeed, despite the success of legendary big names like Zinedine Zidane and Franz Beckenbauer, but people always remember the huge number of great players who tried to coach and failed, and there emerged a conviction that the great player who was successful on the field, not because he understood football, but because he was truly talented. This is what created the impression that when any great player trains, success is not guaranteed. Rather, he will most likely fail, and we start with our first hero in the top 5, which is Maradona. It is impossible for him to succeed in training, because when Maradona gives the midfielder instructions, he tells him to run and dodge 7 players as he did. I worked with England and scored a goal. I mean, Maradona's talent was extraordinary. It was difficult for him to endure and watch others play normally, and most likely Diego Maradona is the star player who failed the most in training. We are talking about a player. He was in the race for historical advantage, and for some he still is first in the race for historical advantage. He entered into competition with Pelé for many years, and then continued when Messi and Ronaldo added to them. A long struggle, many years, Maradona. No one watches football. They don't know. Most of Maradona's experiences with clubs were medium-term. He did not last long, and he left quickly. Perhaps his longest experience was in a medium-sized club in the Emirates, and when he coached Argentina, he qualified with difficulty. Going back to the 2010 World Cup, we remember. He lost in those qualifiers 6-1 from Bolivia, and in the World Cup he gave a normal performance, which ended in humiliation by Germany by 4-0. So Maradona's experience as a coach was more of a media experience than a sporting one. Wherever there are people, they love and care about Maradona, but on the field, people say enough is enough, Maradona, we go to another player. He still has a chance, but I remembered him after I thought a lot about Thierry Henry, the legend who won the '98 World Cup and Euro 2000 and the unforgettable Arsenal star, who was also part of the Barcelona team that achieved the hexagon, meaning in football, he achieved everything, but in training Thierry Henry did not give any positive signs, remembering that he now has a chance with France in the Olympics. It is possible that from there he will start repeating his coaching career. He actually began his professional coaching career as a coach with Monaco and it only lasted 20 matches. Only it ended badly, and when he went and coached the Montreal team, he played 29 matches, winning only 9, and Thierry Henry felt more inclined to be in the media than to be in training, more inclined to be in the shadows. He was always trying to be an assistant coach, and even as an assistant coach. He has these positive indicators about his great role, and therefore Thierry Henry may be a legendary player. He has indicators that he failed in training, and we go to a third player also in the English Premier League, a big star, the legend of the Premier League's historic top scorer, Alan Shearer, the captain of Blackburn to win the Premier League, and the one who had a great career in Newcastle, and had it not been for Man United also won the league with Newcastle in the 2008-2009 season. He took over as coach of Newcastle in recent weeks, and was wanted. Saving the team from relegation, he played 8 matches, winning only 1, as Newcastle was relegated for the first time in the year '93, and began the problems that we know that were eventually solved when it was purchased from the Saudi investment fund. After this experience, he did not return to training. Perhaps he understood the dark side of training, that it can destroy you, no matter how great a player you are, and Shearer should have learned much before this, because England legend Bobby Charlton, who won the '66 World Cup, who won the Champions League with Man United, and who won the Golden Ball in the year '66. He also failed in coaching. Perhaps the reason for Charlton's failure was that he did not accept to work as a coach, but in his first profession, he was a coach and a player, and the team was Preston North End. Of course, the team was relegated and the player and coach left due to disagreements with the administration. This was in the year '75, after 8 years. Years later, he tried his luck again in 2 tasks. He was a temporary coach for the Win team, and also an administrator in the club, an experience that was also not crowned with success. He lost his passion for coaching, and said, "I am just a legend." Until his death in the year 23, and we go to a 5th player. If we were to see him playing, we would talk about him. He would succeed as a coach, a fighting spirit, a leadership personality, a winning mentality. We are talking about Stoichkov, the Barcelona star, the Bulgarian star. His training experiences do not reflect a winning mentality or personality. Fighting, top scorer in the 94th World Cup and Ballon d'Or winner in the same year, and Guardiola's teammate in Barcelona, but in clear disagreement with his coaching success, he coached Bulgaria in the World Cup and Euro qualifiers. 2004-2006 they had good quality at that time, but he did not succeed with them, so he went and coached Celta Vigo, and they were relegated to the second division. Then he tried himself in South Africa with a team called Melody Sundowns, and he also failed. He went and coached a team called Litek Slub Cipergari in the Bulgarian League and won the Best Coach Award in the Bulgarian League in 2013. They asked the major Bulgarian clubs to give him the opportunity, so CSKA Sofia signed him, but he left after a month, and from that day he did not return to training. Perhaps he understood that mentality and spirit are not enough in training. In other matters, influencing players by understanding the details of the game does not exist among legends. Perhaps legends cannot understand what it takes for an ordinary player to succeed. That is why the legendary coaches who tend to succeed in football as coaches are always people who believed on the field in the simplicity of the game, like Zinedine Zidane is like Guardiola, who does not care. He dribbles 10 times, he plays a pass, which puts his teammate in a better position. Perhaps this is why even the greatest strikers, when they became coaches, their teams did not score goals, because they do not understand that not all people are like them. It is unnecessary, like Thierry Henry. The ball hits from the right and enters the net. Imagine Arjen Robben if he wants to coach. Of course, on the other hand, there are legends whose names we must mention. Zidane, Beckenbauer, and Johan Cruyff in training left their mark. They were successful and were able to prove that this rule, which we know that a great player does not succeed as a coach, is actually not a rule. It's probably just a natural human tendency toward the negative side.